The Reman Project is a coaching and consulting firm specializing in personal and leadership development for adult Black males, seeking to break the vicious cycle of missed potential so that they themselves transform their personal lives, their sense of leadership to their families, and their legacies that they want to leave for business and culture. We destroy this cycle on two fronts. We confront both the institution and the individual. We address the institution because, according to the statistics, Black males are under assault and are targeted for extinction in ways that their white counterparts are not. We are over incarcerated and undereducated. There are systems in place, political systems, media systems, and religious systems that serve as intentional, or some say unintentional, barriers to the Black male's advancement. As a result, we work to raise public awareness about issues confronting Black males, promote healthy and positive images about Black males, curate spaces to share information and resources about programs, services, and support for Black males, support knowledge creation and dissemination around these issues, and provide a forum for Black males to both speak and act for themselves. We address the individual Black male because we cannot avoid personal responsibility. We are now overmothered and underfathered. We make bad social choices, and we avoid responsibility for getting ourselves out from under the social plight that we face. We will develop the moral compass and character necessary to face the adverse realities that are faced in everyday life. We live by the premise that even that which is not our fault is still our responsibility. In 2019, we answered the call to transform the culture one man at a time. Our society, our families, and men in particular are in a state of crisis. And the goal of the Reman Project is to curate the largest, strongest, and dopest community of Black males in the entire world. We then create awareness and action against the institutional and individual impediments that exist against the foundation of our culture and overall society, which is the Black male.
What's up, y'all? Good afternoon. It's afternoon. It's not morning. We would usually be on in the morning at 10 o'clock a.m., but you guys seem to be shifting with us rather nicely. Thank you for doing that with us. Welcome to the Grown Man Podcast. I am your host, Donald Morton, Chief Visionary Officer of Remand. And at Remand, we help Black businessmen interrupt patterns, disrupt behaviors, break the vicious cycles of missed potential so that they master life, leadership, and legacy. And alongside of me today, as he is every single Monday, is my co-host, Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr., Chief Operations Officer at Remand, and also CEO at JNF Enterprises. Good afternoon, my guy. Good to see you. How was that introduction, Leroy? Because you sent me a kind of not so nice text last night about and you called me out my name. So I wanted to make sure I didn't come in hot today. That we would respect one another. How was that introduction?
Like Rambo said, you started it.
I started it. You finished it. I asked him last night how is my lovely brother, or I was thanking him. Really, it was really a text just to say thank you for being a brother to me. But I had to put lovely in there. And he
The only time I want to hear lovely is when it comes from my significant other. Okay.
Well, let's talk about that, Leroy. Who is she? And
See,
she
there
is
you
one of
go.
the,
Why
yeah,
you all up in my peanut butter and
because
jelly? Why you
because
all up in my peanut butter and jelly, bro?
because you
Leave
mentioned
my
her.
peanut butter and jelly alone.
You mentioned her, so I want to make sure we give her props this afternoon. Can you give us her initials?
No.
This is the most secretive brother I've ever. Whether it comes to his children, whether it comes to his significant other,
Is it?
we can't
Is
even
that where
get
I
a
get? Is that
name.
where I get it from? Is that where I get it from?
We can't even get a name on the Grown Man Podcast. Um, and so we're gonna let that go. What's happening, Dwight? Good to see you, man. Good afternoon, my brother. Good afternoon, King. It's good to see you. Thank you for hanging out with us today. Tremel Epps, what's up, man? Oh, thank you, bro. Thank you, bro. Dope intro. Thank you, man. Doing our best to do it at a high level at Remand. And of course, Tremel, I always have to say this. I don't have to say it, but I choose to say it. Tremel Epps is one of the original kings of comedy. He's one of the original gangsters with regard to the start of Remand. Tremel Epps, Chris Collins, Ron Handy, and myself, four men in Wilmington, Delaware, started this movement that is now across the country and literally around the world. So I shout out to him and the work that he continues to help us do. Dwight Robinson said, "Let's go, let's get it, man. Let's definitely get it." And all in the peanut butter. Yeah, I'm just offended that we know everything else about him. We know he's a junior. We know that he's a junior, that his father is a senior. He will not allow us to call him Leroy McKenzie. He said that is his father. Call me Leroy McKenzie Jr. So he's been really clear about that. He's clear about the fact that he is a card carrying Christian, member of New Psalmist Baptist Church. His pastor has or is retiring, has retired, one or the other, and his son is now the new pastor. He likes his new pastor. He is on several podcasts. Like, we know all about his business life. We know about JNF Enterprises. We know about those things. So I don't quite understand why we can't know about his personal life. Why is that peanut butter and jelly and the rest of it is not? Leroy,
Cause, cause,
I'm just
cause
going to pause for a
in
moment and
contrary,
explain yourself.
in contrary to Deion Sanders, I don't put all of my business out there and then want to retract it when I try to. Can you please give us and the family our privacy as we deal with our situation and circumstances? But Tracy Evans and I will no longer be together yet. Go sit down somewhere.
So do you expect your relationship to last? Do you expect your relationship to end in marriage? Do you expect your
It's
relationship?
it's funny you say that because I've always, and this is no lie, what call me crazy, whatever, but my intent for every relationship that I was in was geared towards marriage. It
Okay.
was linking of getting, wanting to be married, thinking that
Okay.
this is someone that I could see being married to. Now, of
Yes,
course,
sir.
that didn't turn out that way and
Yes, sir.
everything like that. But that's the way that I go into, relationships. It's like, can I see this person as somebody being married to? And if I can't, yeah, I don't want to go down that road
Yeah.
because I don't want to waste her time and I don't want to waste my time. You know what I'm
Yeah, I,
saying?
I don't think
Yeah,
that's crazy
yeah,
at all, man. I agree.
yeah,
I think as men, I think women too, but
yeah.
as you guys know, anytime that I'm going to talk, I'm going to talk about brothers. I'm not going to talk about sisters. I can leave that for some other podcast to be able to address those things. But as men, Leroy, I think we've got to be far more intentional.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and let me say this too, man. I was watching a podcast interview from, oh man, what's that brother's name? He talks about money all the time, talks about black wealth all the time. I think he's in
Yeah.
Cali.
You're not
He
talking
was
about
on
AI
Jamal's
or Anthony.
podcast. Say it
You're not
again.
talking about Anthony. You're not talking about AO, are you?
Not AO.
Okay.
Not
I'm
AO.
trying to
I
think.
forget. I just saw him a moment ago too. Dope
Okay.
brother has met with presidents, has the ear. I mean, just has his finger on the pulse of black wealth. And what he was talking about is that we've gotten marriage and relationships wrong.
Hmm.
That back in the day, marriage and relationships were not about and this is going to trigger some people, but just hear me because I think he brings up an incredibly important point. He said, Leroy said, marriage and relationships weren't about marriage in particular was not about love. It wasn't about feelings.
Hmm.
It wasn't about companionship. It just wasn't about those things. Marriage was about business. Marriage was about connection of purpose. And somebody put on their Facebook page recently, they were talking about how or ask the question, why are there so many breakups, uh, or why do people stay in relationships when they're no longer in love? And I said on that particular post, because love takes two different forms. The
Hmm.
beginning of the relationship, love is a feeling. It is this warm and fuzzy thing that goes on. Later on in a relationship, love is a decision. Right?
Hmm.
Like you
Hmm.
you have to decide to a mature kind of love when the
Hmm.
warm and fuzzies go away, when you're not necessarily getting along every day. It's a decision to keep on going. And I think that many people fall in love with the first part, and when they think the first part is gone, they say, let me give it up, without recognizing that the second part sustains, the first part obtains. So I just said something. I just said,
Yeah.
Leroy, I'm a Baptist preacher. I feel like running around my desk. The first
Yeah,
part of
bro.
love obtains, but the second love, the decision of love, the mature love sustains. You got to have
Hmm.
an
Yeah,
ability to
somebody better write that
sustain what
down.
you've
Somebody
obtained.
needed
Yeah,
that
yes,
today.
sir.
Somebody
Yes, sir.
needed
What are
that.
your thoughts,
And
man?
that's the thing, bro. Is people want the warm and fuzzy without having to work at getting to the warm and fuzzy. The warm and fuzzy, and you can attest to this because you're married and you've been married.
Yes.
That people want the wedding but
Yes.
don't want the marriage. There's a
Yes.
difference.
Yes. Yes.
They
100%.
want the warm and fuzzy of the wedding. Oh,
100%.
look at her, she's beautiful, this, that, and the other. But after you said I what do you do to keep on um sustaining, as your
Yeah.
word that you use, which I think was
Yeah.
appropriate, to sustain that?
Yeah.
And most people don't want to work. They don't want to do the work that it takes in order to be able to sustain a marriage. Because, like, I know you can talk about that. It is work. You got to
Oh,
work
without
at it.
question. Without question.
And most people aren't willing to work after the warm and fuzzy's gone. And once they what you mean I got to? No, I don't. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't want to have to work for it.
Yeah.
I want it to always be, and that's I think the mistake that people get caught up in, and I think media has a part in playing it. They always want to present the woman fuzzy. They don't want to tell you, like we just talked about Deion Sanders. They want to give you the pretty, the houses and the cars and going here and being on the yachts. But them days, yeah, she don't like you, you don't like
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
y'all
Yeah.
y'all side eyeing each other.
Yeah. And there
You
are
know what I'm
there
saying?
are more days than we would all care to imagine, because whenever two are becoming one, right, the difficulties in that are enormous.
Yeah,
Right? You're talking about two individual lives
yeah.
blending, and he's got his way of doing things, she's got her way of doing things, and a part of what Lala has said to me is, "Hey, let me be me.
Mhm.
I'm not you.
Mhm.
Let me be
Mhm.
me. And I had to really, I was kind of taken aback by the statement, like,
Yeah.
let me be me. And it's true. I had to,
Mhm.
there are certain things that I wanted her to be that
Yep.
just were not her. Right. And
Been
there were
there, done
certain
that.
things that she wanted me to be that I was not that guy. So we have sort of a pact where we will let each other be. I mean, we're individuals, right?
Mhm.
And every now and then, I still try it. Like I think you
Mhm.
should do it this way, and in my heart, it'll have to come up. Like, let me be me. Let me do it my way.
And that was the thing that I had to learn too, bruh. That the way that we have this expectation of how we want to love someone. You know what
Yes,
I'm saying?
yes,
And even how we want to be loved. And I think that that's we should have someone that understands how what our love language is, if you will. You know what the love language is, and how we are. But I think we, unfortunately, and I've done this, where we put the way that we want to love someone
yes,
on them and not
yes,
thinking about their expectation of how
yes,
they want to be
yes,
loved. We
man.
do. It's like,
Yes,
well, what you mean? I can't. you you bringing her chocolates and she want flowers. You know
yes,
what I'm saying?
yes, yes, yes,
Like, no, I
yeah,
didn't ask you for chocolate. I asked you I'd
yeah,
like flowers.
yeah,
So
yeah,
bring me
yeah.
flowers and I'll be
Yeah, bring me
happy.
flowers. And there are many uh, like my primary love language, actually my primary love language is not even on his five, right?
Really? Okay.
I love Leroy growth. Like,
Okay.
I have to see everything and everyone around me grow.
Mm,
Whenever something becomes stagnant, it bothers
mm,
me. I have
mm.
to see it grow, and I think that's a principle. I think it's a God principle, right?
Mhm.
That the Bible says, whenever there's a branch that doesn't bring
Yep.
forth fruit, then you got to get rid of it.
Everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Everything.
yeah,
There's not, and that blew me away when I saw that in the Bible. Everything. And I remember Bishop Jake said it initially. He said everything that God created, He created with the ability to reproduce,
yes,
except for us initially, because man
yes,
could not reproduce.
yes,
And that's why he made the statement, it's not good for man to be alone.
yeah,
And he told them, be fruitful and multiply, because they could
yes.
then do, because everything, if you look at the Bible, everything in the Bible that did not produce,
Oh
that
yeah,
does not produce, what happens to it? That's all I'm gonna say.
yeah.
You don't want to be in that number.
Yeah,
Trust and believe that.
for sure. So aside from that, though, my primary love language is words of affirmation. Like, I
Okay.
gotta know that I'm doing a good job,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
And
mhm.
so, and so, even you, when you it builds me when you make statements like, "Hey man, I don't want to blow your head up." Right, right, but you're doing a good job at this, or I see you doing this, like that. That means the world to me. Now, I've learned not to need it. I've
Mhm,
learned not to need it,
mhm.
because you won't always get it, particularly
Right.
when you make decisions that are not popular, whether in a
Correct.
relationship or in a business. You're not always going to get someone that says good job. Sometimes people say, man, that's the craziest decision I've ever seen in my life, right?
Well,
I've learned not to need it, but I do recognize it as my primary love language. I have to have. I love having words of
I
affirmation.
I told you, Walt Disney is the prime example. Dude, what are you doing? A mouse?
A
A
mouse,
mouse? No.
a mouse, and that's what we got today. We got mice. We got mice. We got mice, and it is revolutionized the whole industry, right?
Yep.
because a man dared to think outside of the box and do
Yeah.
something against what everybody thought he should do. And I would tell you this, man, before we get into our topic today. Um, I will, yeah, a mouse, a mouse. I would tell you that the more I settle into a sense of leadership, whether that
Mm,
leadership is with my business, with my family, doesn't matter, right? The more I have to become comfortable with doing something that is unpopular.
mm,
You
mm,
can't be an effective leader. You can't be an effective leader at JNF Enterprises. Dwight can't be an effective leader with DR International. Tremel can't be an effective leader with Tips, which is his painting business. Which, by the way, if you guys have seen my latest post where I'm talking about, I'm not a business coach. I'm a certified master coach for Black businessmen, and you see the background and the kind of the artwork that was done by the painter. That is Tremel Epps' work. He is he did all of my painting in my house. I wouldn't let anybody else touch my house um, because he's the best that ever did it at what he does. But also, I could trust him, so I could leave my house. You know, he is a brother of mine, so I could leave my house and say, "Do whatever you got to do." Then trust. Uh, I trusted him that everything would be well by the time I got back. Just a phenomenal. If you and he didn't ask me to do this, doesn't even know I'm going to do it. But if you're in the Delaware area, Philadelphia, Jersey, I'm sure he'll travel if you pay his way as well. Um, you need a skilled painter. He's as skillful as a surgeon with the paintbrush. If you need that kind of work done, and I'm sure he does some other work too, besides painting. That stuff, what is it? Poxy or Moxie or Roxy on the floor. Yeah, whatever that is. I'm sure he does that kind of stuff too. Does some artwork with it. Just dope, brother. Hit Tremel Epps, DM him. He'll give you a real good price. He'll give you the price that he's not going to shortchange you. Sometimes the price is the price. And I can't tell you how many times, Leroy, that brother has had to say, here he said, Facebook page Tremel's Integrity Painting, LLC. Um, I can't tell you how many times he has told me and how many times I'm sure he hasn't told me. People have said, man, you're a bit too costly. I'm going to go with the next guy. And then the next guy butchered the job, right? And then they got to come back to him. And I used
yep.
to think, when they come
And
back
that's
to
gonna
you,
cost you even more
yeah, it's gonna cost you even it's gonna cost you even more.
because I gotta fix what they did, and then I gotta do
Absolutely.
my work.
100%. So
Yep.
so I wanna encourage people, listen, when just consider the fact that you're gonna have to pay more, right? If somebody butchers the job, just pay the people the money. Just pay them the money, right? And save yourself some heartache that could be coming, right? He said, "Yeah, right." It's absolutely the case. Leroy, before we jump in, man, we got about 5 minutes. What was your weekend like, bro? See
Bruh.
your
I,
kids?
I've been waiting for you to ask me that, bro.
Oh, why? What happened?
I think I watched the most ghetto movie I've ever seen
Was it on
in my
Tubi?
life.
Yes, bro. Yes, Tubi.
But guess what the title of the movie was?
What?
Pregnant by the pastor.
Pregnant by the pastor? Oh
I
my
don't I
God.
don't know. And I guess and I couldn't even watch the whole movie. I was like, I can't. I was like, I can't do it. But it had to be the camera. And I know it had to be an iPhone because it wasn't the quality of it wasn't good at all. But and it wasn't even that the quality wasn't good. It was just like I took my phone
Yes,
video
yes.
and used that. to make a movie, to make this movie. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
I
I
have been,
mean,
we've been on Tubi, bruh, and we've watched movies where we
and I
could
have
see
to.
the boom might come down and it's not supposed to be in the picture. We've watched Tubi movies where they jump from a scene back to another scene, and it was
Wait,
behind the scenes people, white people in the middle of a black movie. It was a great. So now, because Marla is a she's an actress. Marla is literally an actress, right? So because she is, and she taught me some of the behind the scenes things. I think now she's just kind of irritated that she taught me because I look for it now. Like, yeah, that wasn't supposed to be there. That there's you're not supposed to see the boom mic right in front of the
right,
person.
yeah, never ever, never ever.
Yeah, man. So
I was just like, oh my, I was like, oh my God. And my thing is we're in an age now where, and from a technology standpoint, make the investment
yes,
in the right
yes,
cameras.
yes,
If you're gonna
yes,
do a movie, right? You can even, and I know I made a joke of it earlier, but you can even use. I don't know if it's the 13 or 15 iPhone that you can act. They use that to
yep,
do a full movie. Because what was it, Creed 3, Michael B. Jordan? They said some of their movie, some of the parts of the movie,
yeah,
they filmed with an iPhone. I
yeah,
forgot which, like I said, which one it was. Is it
yeah,
13 or something like that, whatever? But they used an iPhone to make a movie. They're
yeah.
using iPhones to make full
Absolutely.
movies now.
Absolutely. I put
So
that.
the
Put
technology
some
is
respect
there.
on our names. Put some respect on
It
our
is. Yeah, I say that sincerely because
names.
it is. When you
Yeah.
want to, you can't do that with a. I will say that you can't do that with a with the Android. I don't believe you
Wait.
can as good as the
Rewind that and say that again, Leroy.
yeah,
Just so because
as good as the camera is in on an Android, they you I don't believe you could shoot a movie with this phone.
say
I
it one more
truly
time.
don't. I don't know if there's a
Say it one more
version
time, Leroy.
of the Android that you could
Say
shoot
it
a
one more.
movie with.
Say it one
And
more time.
you know,
Say it one more time.
yeah, right. But that's but that's just being truth and faithful.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, I had to. I was like, I tried, bro. I tried. I was just trying to, because because I write stories. Not that I write stories, but I write. So when I'm looking at movies, sometimes I'm looking at, okay, if it doesn't have the cinematography and everything like that, I can try and work with the story.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
story good?
Yeah.
Is the story good?
Yeah.
You know, um,
Yeah.
but I was just like, I can't. I was like, I can't do it. I was like, no.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I've we've seen many like that, and we just laugh like this is crazy. People, and so the running joke here in the house is they ran out of budget. Like the budget was slim. They had a couple more scenes to do,
and
and they
that's
couldn't,
it.
they couldn't pull it off. Yeah. So I want to
They
welcome
they
everybody. Go ahead, man.
they're in the middle of a chase and they got to cut the movie.
Yeah, they got there. And so in the middle of a chase, they had to cut the budget. And the next scene you see him running from because they can't afford the car. Like everything, everything is gone. Listen to me. Welcome to the Grown Man Podcast. Thank you all for coming to hang out with us today. Today, we're going to talk about something, and I'm going to let Leroy. I'm going to go to a commercial break real quick. Then I'm going to come back and we're going to talk about legacy or leapfrog, the
Ooh,
nepotism debate in sports, business, and faith. This is a conversation that Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr. brought to my attention. And I think it's a good conversation to have. I want you guys to do me a favor. I want you to add some people. I want you, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to YouTube. Type some people's name in the chat just so that they can know that we're on the air. And let's have a conversation. Not only do I want to Leroy and I to have a conversation, but I genuinely want to hear from you. I want to hear your position in just one moment about legacy or leapfrog, the nepotism debate in sports, business, and faith. And we will see you in just one moment.
Morton.
Dr. Donald Morton.
Donald Morton.
Dr. Donald Morton.
Dr. Donald Morton.
Dr. Donald Morton. Dr. Donald Morton is an award-winning social entrepreneur known for his innovative social solutions.
Based on this fatherhood and manhood issue in droves, incredibly large numbers. And I felt it necessary for someone to have a voice like yourself to do the work of restoring men in our society. And I've been doing that work ever since.
His latest solution is expressed as the CEO of Remand.
So Remand, the nonprofit, is about helping brothers that are coming out of prison, brothers that are dealing with child support, brothers that are the most marginalized of our communities, helping them with their character and the institutions that impact them. And then the LLC, our for-profit arm, is really attempting to address the CEOs and CFOs and entrepreneurs and people like that say, look, I got issues too as a black man. My issues are a bit different because I'm in the C-suite. And how it plays out in the C-suite is very different than how it plays out on the block and those brothers that are coming out of re-entry. But here's a deal. All of us the same, for real, for real.
Dr. Morton is the former executive director of the Complexities of Color Coalition. As executive director of the coalition, he worked to congregate Wilmington, Delaware's African American community in order to create comprehensive strategy to influence institutions, policies, and laws. Dr. Morton has over 25 years of experience in African American community leadership. Remand is deeply personal. While he's glad that thousands of men are on this journey with him, it was started because he needed liberation. He was broken and bound, and he was fighting to put his life back together after divorce, infidelity, business challenges, bankruptcy, and a life destroyed by being the worst liar ever. Yes, Dr. Morton was a liar until he faced himself and proved his signature science, the character arc. Then and only then was he ready to lead men to learn and live the science of being remanded.
Yes. The worst liar ever. That's exactly who I was. Welcome back to the Grown Man Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Morton, Chief Visionary Officer of Remand. And at Remand, we help Black businessmen interrupt patterns, disrupt behaviors, break the vicious cycles of missed potential so that he masters his life, his sense of leadership to his family, and his sense of legacy with business and culture. Alongside me today is the man with the plan, Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr., Chief Operations Officer at Remand, and also CEO of J&F Enterprises. Leroy, you sent me a message yesterday, and you said, Dwight said, ever. I don't need your help, Dwight, letting me know I was a liar. Dwight want to make sure.
Forever.
Absolutely, bro. Leroy, you sent a text to me yesterday and said, hey, man, or day before, say, hey, man, I'd like to discuss this. Let's talk. I want you to introduce it. The reason why it's so important, I think it is important, but I'd like you to kind of lead us off today.
No, it came to, well, it's something that I thought about, but you really don't think about, because I know I've thought about it, and then I believe you think about it too when it comes to your kids and everything like that. When we think, because we talk about it here in Remand, we talk about legacy,
Yes,
and what we're able to leave our children.
Yes.
And leaving them in the position, and and everybody knows, if you've been watching any kind of sports and TV, everybody knows that LeBron James' son, Bronny, and he's actually Junior. He's actually LeBron James Jr.
Yes.
That was his born name was
Yeah.
LeBron James Jr. But they call him Bronny. He got drafted number
Yes.
55, I think it was,
Yes.
for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yes.
LeBron James still currently plays for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah.
And I think everybody's been up in arms, or some people have been up in arms. A lot of people have been like, well, nepotism is in every industry. This
Yes.
is, what he's doing is no different
Yes.
than what, other CEOs and other other parents do with their children when they bring them on. I mean, into their business, or get them hired in a certain capacity and everything like that. So it becomes very it's been a topic. It's been a topic, and so I thought it was a good way for us to talk about legacy,
Yeah.
and what legacy are we leaving, and what that means.
Yeah.
Is there nepotism in legacy? Is there is there a thing to wanting to, should we want to leave our kids a business? Should we want to leave our kids, get them a position for a company that we might have worked for? They got a job specifically because we work there on our name, or not even if the company that you may have worked for, a company, just any company, on your name, because
Yeah.
you have a reputation, because you
Yeah.
have a name. These people will hire your child
Yeah.
on you. Is that fair? Is that something that we need to look at, or not? So that's what brought about that, for me
Give
to
me
be able
your
to answer that
position,
question.
Leroy. What do you think about all that you just said? What is your particular position around the idea of nepotism?
Well, I think it works, and it can in certain ways and everything like that. I think I'm not going to say people can use it as a bad way or as a bad thing, but it's something that I think that, if it's used in the right way, I don't have a problem with it. I don't see anything wrong with
Yeah.
it.
Those of you that are watching, Dwight, Tramel, others that are watching, I can't see everybody that's watching, but do me a favor and let me know what your position is. Is your position that it's okay? Uh, let's see. Dwight says works on my federal job vehemently. Tell me what that means, Dwight. When you say, are you saying that there is nepotism on your job? And if so, does it bother you? Talk to me about that. So let me continue to set context for what Leroy just said. Right. I I think a couple of things, Leroy. Tell me whether you agree. First of all, uh, Bronny James, LeBron James Jr. was drafted 55 of 58. Right? He so there are people who say, well, he took some deserving kids position. No, he was drafted 55 of 58. So are you saying that perhaps he was drafted, that somebody else should have gotten 55, 56, 57, 58? It's only four slots. It's not like he was drafted in the first round, top 10, and that he knocked somebody off more deserving
Mhm.
than than who would have been picked, right? So that's number one. Number two, he sometimes when I hear the word nepotism, Leroy, and I want to toss it to you, I want you to about this. When I hear the word nepotism, I often connect it to whether or not a person is deserving, whether or not a person has put in the work.
Mhm.
The young man has, is, and will continue to put in the work. His father is the hardest working man in the NBA.
Yeah.
So to suggest that work ethic is going to be a problem, or that he's not deserving. The young man has been working toward this for his entire career, and his father was able to put him in position. Some would argue that he could have gone sooner. Some would argue that. Some would argue that he could have gone sooner, that the strings that were pulled to make sure that he could get to LA to play with his father, which for me is the dopest thing ever. It's the dopest thing ever. Can you imagine that night, Leroy? Maybe you and I should travel. We should travel to LA. The night, and we don't know when that night is going to be, but that magical night when LeBron and Bronny walk on the floor together. Can you imagine how that's going to feel? Right? How it's going to feel for both of them to step on the floor at the same time, to play at the same time, him pass the rock to his pop, or his pop pass the rock to him, or Bronny throw an alley-oop to his pop, or his pop throw. I mean, it's never been done before. So I enjoyed that. And then finally, let me say this. This isn't new, y'all. This isn't new. Like this has been around for a minute. Y'all do know that Gary Payton got a son in the NBA, right? Y'all do know that Bill Walton had a son, Luke Walton, in the NBA, right? So this
was the Lakers coach.
The Lakers coach. So this isn't new. I have a problem sometimes with us, Leroy, who have been victimized by nepotism, by white America, when we have been we've been in positions where we should have gotten a job, and then a white boss gave it to his son, and now a man has positioned himself, rightfully so, positioned himself, busted his ass to do it. And now he has put his son in position. I ain't got no problems with it. I love the fact that a man has created legacy. Legacy or leapfrog? Did he leapfrog? If he did, he only leapfrogged 5 people or 4 other people, 3 other people. It wasn't like they put him as the number 1 pick. Now, all of us would be looking side eye if Bronny was the number 1 pick. But he was 55, Leroy. I'm okay with that. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I can't, I guess I'm good on one end with it, but the other end, because one, it's a little, and I think this is a little different than any other position. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's corporate America where you can say, hey, this is the National Basketball Association.
Yes.
You can't just get put into the National Basketball Association.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You have to have a certain level of talent.
Yes.
There are only, like you said, there are only 58 draft picks.
Yes. Usually 60, but 58 for the last couple of years because of some penalties from some teams. Yeah.
Out of how many? How many guys go, look to go to the NBA draft?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he like you said, he's put the work in. Yes. He's put the work in. Yes. And it's one thing, LeBron can open that door.
He's still got to perform.
Now, I don't go as far as you talking about him being on the court at the same time as his daddy. I don't see that happening unless, JJ Redick, LeBron tells JJ Redick, I need you to put my son in here. Then there's going to be some problems, because I don't think he's. If you look at that roster, can you say that he's not going to start? I don't think he's a starter.
He's not going to start. But can you imagine just a scenario, Leroy? Can you imagine they playing some Bama team?
Yeah.
They up by 30. Right? And LeBron wants to play with his son.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, under that scenario, I absolutely see that happening. Whether or not he's going to start with his dad, that's not going to happen. Yeah. He's just not there. And here's the good news: like, Bronny is clear that he needs development. All of us are the ones that are tripping. He's clear. I need development. I'm in the G League. I'm in the summer league, right? I'm doing all of these things to develop
Yeah.
my game. But he's a good player. He may not be the upper echelon players, but most of us don't know player number 12
On
on
the bench.
on the bench. We don't know them. We don't know them. So we know, maybe we know the starting five, we know the six man, we may know seven.
7.
But when you get to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
You
we
don't
don't
know.
we don't
You don't
know
know.
them,
Yeah.
right? So I think it is just a phenomenal thing that the brother has created
Yeah.
such legacy,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and put his son on, or at least positioned his son,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you're
And that's
absolutely
all
right.
you.
He's got to perform.
Yeah. And that's the only thing I think that is our responsibility as this generation is to, like you just said, to put the next generation in the position to be better.
Yes, man. Yes.
That's all that's what that should be our only responsibility. Now
Yes.
they have to take that and do with it, and do with it. It's nothing more than what the Rockefellers did with each of their generations. They did that.
Yes.
I mean, Jerry Jones for the. I know it's a bad word for you and I, for the Dallas Cowboys. He got his kids. He got his son working as
Yeah.
in the front office with him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, and everything like that. So you have that Magic Johnson's son works with his foundation.
Got it.
I believe it is. He's the head of his, I think he heads the foundational part of his business. So there are that's that part of it. We are supposed to put our children in the position
Yes.
where they can take over the business if
Yes.
they want to,
Yes.
or go and be successful at whatever business it is. Denzel has done his Denzel's son. What's his son? Name.
I don't even know.
Oh
I think I've
man.
seen him a couple of times, but I don't even know.
Yeah, but his son coming into the industry, and this is just one of his sons that decided to be an actor, because his other children do work behind the scenes.
Okay.
They do other stuff behind the scenes. But his one son that is an actor is a phenomenal actor. He didn't use his name to be able to get where he went. He said he didn't want his father to kind of be the reason why he got a position. He wanted his
Dwight says
work
John
to
David.
speak. Yeah, that's it. John David. That's it. John
Yeah.
David. He wanted his skills to be able to work for him. Same thing. They said that because they did an interview with LeBron. And that's the way that Bronny is. He's like, no, I don't want to live off of the coattails of my father, because that becomes, and I don't know if we have time to get into that, but
That's a lot of
even that
pressure.
aspect, that's a lot of pressure.
That's a
You
lot.
know it too. Your
Yeah.
your mom was a bishop.
Yes.
That name,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
living up
For
to
sure.
her name,
For sure. For sure. And
coming
a
off
part
of,
of a part of the reason why I see the hand of God in it now, but a part of the reason why it took me so long to embrace the call is I refused to allow her call to be my call.
yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Mhm,
But that
mhm,
does transition to an important another part of the conversation, Leroy, that is off the beaten path, but not a lot.
mhm,
So let's say that one of your children, right? You're you're a business owner, right? You're a business owner. Let's say Leroy doesn't have any children, y'all, but let's say that he does, right? Let's say that he has a son. And let's say, Leroy, that you've built this huge company, right? And your son says, I don't want to run the company. I want to
mhm.
do something else.
Yep.
Do you find it difficult? Because I wrestle with this. I really do. Do you find it difficult for the children, for your children who want nothing to do with the business to then profit from the business
Mhm.
that they don't want anything to do with? Like I see some challenges with that, right? So if you're asking your son, hey, I want you to work in the business in this area, and he says, I don't want to really do that, but I'm willing to work in this area, and it's in the business, I'm okay with that. But a person who says, I don't want nothing to do with that, but then when I die, you want profit from the business that you wanted nothing to do with, I don't know how I feel about that. What do you feel?
Well, I think that would be wrong, to be honest with you.
It would be wrong on whose
Because
part?
it'd be wrong on the parents' part, on the parents' part, because my thing is I would never want to force my child to do
Hmm.
something that they don't want to do.
Hmm.
If that's not your call, like you said
Yeah.
you didn't want your mother's call to be your
Right.
calling. Saying that, I
Right.
said the same thing about to my father too.
Yeah.
Like that's your calling. That's
Yeah.
not mine.
Yeah.
God's got to talk to me about what it is that He wants
Yeah.
me to do, not you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, that type of thing. So what you did to build that empire, that was you. That was your passion.
Yeah.
That was your vision. That
Yeah.
was your that was your calling.
Yeah.
My calling may be in something else. Now, I believe that the parent can assist the child in their calling because of what they've built. You know, hey, if that's what you want to do, and this isn't, then I want you to go after your dreams. I wouldn't want to pigeonhole my child in living their dream, because if that's what they feel that they're called to do,
Yes.
who are we to tell them that? You know,
Yes.
or to say that, and then who are we to hinder them from doing that? That would be like, well, I don't believe what God is telling you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
it could be, could that hurt? Absolutely, because
Yeah.
I think it's a parent's, whether it's a father or a mother, they kind of want their children to follow in their footsteps, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
follow in their footsteps and do this, so that can sting, it can hurt a little bit, I'm
Yeah.
sure, and everything like that. And I don't know if you and your mother ever had that conversation where if you felt like she was hurt because you said that's not my calling, that's yours.
Well,
You know.
originally she was right.
Mm,
Originally, my position was I don't want to take over the church. I wanted to. I would
mm,
Ministry was good, but I needed to start my own ministry.
mm,
I have
mm,
always been really cognizant of my mother's legacy and allowing my mother's legacy to be her legacy. A
yeah.
part of
Yeah.
what she shared before she transitioned, and it just didn't work out because it doesn't always work out, right? A
Mm,
part of what she shared was, I am not a male pastor. As a
mm,
male pastor, I would want to see my son succeed me in the work that I'm doing. Because I'm a woman, uh, I I still want legacy, and I want you to be a part of that legacy. And after a
mm,
while, I agree with it, but you see how that worked. like
mm,
they locked me out to church, right?
yeah. Yeah.
So when I go back to God about it, He said this to me. He said, "Yeah, I never told you to do it. I
Mm,
never told you to do it. So you
mm,
did it to
mm,
honor your mom. You did it, right? Your
right.
mom was retiring. All of those things are noble, but it's not what I told you to do. So
You
you
do.
got the
Yeah.
consequences of disobedience, right?
Mm,
So I think my challenge, Leroy, before we close, man, we got about 3 minutes, is that, and I've heard Shaq talk about this.
mm,
Like, I
mm,
think we have the
mm,
responsibility to position our children. I don't
right.
think we have the responsibility of making our children rich. I think
Mm,
we have the responsibility of positioning them to acquire and amass wealth in the genre or lane that God has called them to. But it can be
mm,
really, really dangerous of us to so position our children that they don't have to work for their next
right.
level. That
Correct.
is, you agree with that? I think that's a dangerous
Yeah.
place to be.
Oh, absolutely. And it's what I think this current generation, when we say that they have an entitlement mentality, like
Yeah,
I don't have to
yeah,
do anything.
yeah,
It should be given to me. I expect You know, I expect my mother, my father to do this and do that for me, to always do this, to open those doors for me. I think I know. I think I told you the story of playing basketball for my father
Yeah.
in high school,
Yeah.
and how I had to, when he told me I was going out for the position, for the point guard position. I was competing against another guy. He and he had, you know, he started the young guy. I was better than him. And I was a little upset about it. I'm
Yeah.
like, how you gonna put
Yeah.
this dude in front of me and
Yeah.
I know I'm better than him?
Yeah.
And eventually I got the starting spot. But when I talked to my father, he said this: if I'm 90, 108 years
Yeah.
old and halfway senile, I will remember that what he told me. He said, I knew you were better than him, but I wanted the other players to know that you were better than him and that I was not giving you the
Mm,
position just to give it to you because
mm,
you were my son.
yeah.
You had to earn it, just
Yeah.
like everybody else on the
Yeah.
team had to earn it.
Yeah.
I've taken that lesson throughout my entire life, bro.
Be willing
Anything
to
that
earn it.
I had to do,
Be
I had
willing
to
to
be
earn
willing
it.
to earn it. To
Yeah.
put in,
Yeah.
like you said about Bronny, be willing to put in that work.
Yeah.
You got to be willing to do the work. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody's
Yeah.
going to just give you anything, you
Yeah.
know. And
I
and
want to
and
I
that's
want
why,
to end I want to end there, man, because I think that's a great place to end.
yeah.
Whether legacy or leapfrog, we'll leave that up to y'all. But this is what I think Bronny is going to have to answer, and I think he's going to answer it. I do. I think LeBron James Jr. will do at some point. He'll never there'll never be another LeBron James.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So I think he has
Right,
the great mindset to say, hey, I'm not trying to be my pop. I'm not trying
right.
to be him. But I do think that the brother has an ability, he's got a work ethic, um, he's got a shot,
Hmm.
he can play defense.
Hmm.
He's gonna earn whatever that 8 point that 7.9, 7.8, $8 million over 4 years, whatever it is that they've given him. He's gonna earn it. He's gonna earn it. Now his father, I'm sure his father got him the contract, or my man got him the contract, but he gets that money on his dad's name. But it's okay. At some point, the pressure of saying, y'all paying me this amount of money, I'm gonna have to perform, and let's see where this goes from here. So legacy or leapfrog, the nepotism debate in sports, business, and faith. Um, we have done our part today in at least discussing it. If you're watching by replay, do me a favor, hashtag replay. Let us know where you're watching from. And let us know a bit about what it is you think about today's topic, legacy or leapfrog. Did Bronny James, was it legacy or did he leapfrog? Did he pass over several different people? I don't know who the several people are. It's only three people. So I got to keep saying that. It's only three people, y'all. So chill. It's not, he didn't get the number one draft pick, so all of us will burn down the city. He simply got 55 of 58. I think we should all swallow that. Like
Yeah,
he started in the mailroom. He started in the mailroom. He's the highest paid mailroom employee in the company. But he started in the mailroom, willing to earn his keep, do whatever he's got to do. His pop is a workaholic, so I can guarantee you, so is he,
yeah,
and so is Bryce. Like they're all
yeah,
workaholics. So a part of what LA Lakers are betting on is that they are getting LeBron James 2.0 at least at a level that they can be proud to spend $8 million over the course of 4 years. And I think he will I think he'll live up to that. Dwight Robinson says legacy. I say legacy. Leroy, what do you say?
yeah. I say legacy too.
Yeah.
It just is. It is what it is. And yes, there is a business component to it.
Yes,
Let's be real. There's a
yes,
business
yes,
component to it that
yes,
LA saw. This
yes,
young man just
yes,
sold out of his jersey, so they know they playing the
yes,
game. They trying to maximize on the merch
yes,
as well.
yes,
And even that legacy piece of having the first father son in the NBA,
yes.
play together. That's what they are looking at. They're not even looking at the future of what their team is, because the team is trash. I'm just gonna be real. The team is trash. Let's be real. The team is trash. So they like, look, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna go all the way. We're gonna go all the way with it. We're gonna, we'll keep LeBron for another year to let him play with his son,
Yes,
have his whatever, and then we'll move on.
yeah, yeah.
So that's
Agreed, man.
it is what
Absolutely
it is.
agreed. We
So
want to thank you
yeah.
guys for watching the Grown Man Podcast. I've been your host, Donald Morton, Chief Visionary Officer of Remain. And right next to me is my lovely co-host, Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr., Chief Operations Officer of Remain, also CEO of JNF Enterprises. It's been our pleasure to be with y'all. We will see you guys on next Monday, same bat time, same bat channel. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.
The Reman Project is a coaching and consulting firm specializing in personal and leadership development for adult Black males, seeking to break the vicious cycle of missed potential so that they themselves transform their personal lives, their sense of leadership to their families, and their legacies that they want to leave for business and culture. We destroy this cycle on two fronts. We confront both the institution and the individual. We address the institution because, according to the statistics, Black males are under assault and are targeted for extinction in ways that their white counterparts are not. We are over-incarcerated and under-educated. There are systems in place, political systems, media systems, and religious systems that serve as intentional, or some say unintentional, barriers to the Black male's advancement. As a result, we work to raise public awareness about issues confronting Black males, promote healthy and positive images about Black males, curate spaces to share information and resources about programs, services, and support for Black males, support knowledge creation and dissemination around these issues, and provide a forum for Black males to both speak and act for themselves. We address the individual Black male because we cannot avoid personal responsibility. We are now overmothered and underfathered. We make bad social choices, and we avoid responsibility for getting ourselves out from under the social plight that we face. We will develop the moral compass and character necessary to face the adverse realities that are faced in everyday life. We live by the premise that even that which is not our fault is still our responsibility. In 2019, we answered the call to transform the culture one man at a time. Our society, our families, and men in particular are in a state of crisis. And the goal of the Remand Project is to curate the largest, strongest, and dopest community of Black males in the entire world. We then create awareness and action against the institutional and individual impediments that exist against the foundation of our culture and overall society, which is the Black male.